Aloha CS 101. Welcome to the first tutorial video for this class. And thank you all for comments and asking questions. Those are great questions today. I think it would be a great start just to talk about the objective of range, length, and for loop by index. I'm going to be using these past assignments as an example as we go along. But let's first talk about range. So what is range? Well, simply known, the term when you use the range function, it take in 3 input, or usually 2, which is none. It take you the first number, followed by the number when you want to stop. Let's say 10. Then, so with this range function right here, it's gonna return you a list or an array, if you want to call it, that start out with this number and go all the way until 10 exclusively, meaning that it's gonna go until the number the one before 10, which is 9. So we enter this function, it's going to give you from 1 to 9. So it returns you as a list, right? So range usually is used to loop by index, as in you're gonna, when you use it in a for loop, it usually go through each of these number one at a time until it run out of the list. Other example of using range could be if you enter just one number, for example 9. In this case, by default, the start will always be 0, and it will go from 0 to the one before number 9, which is 8. Yeah, so this is what it does. Another example could be, let's say, go 1 to 10, but instead of listing every single number from 0 to 9, right, I want it to kind of just list every other number. So I would say start out with 1, then skip 2, and list 3, and something like that. So my increment, instead of going from 1 to 2, is actually going 1 to 3, and that's the difference is 2. So I say it's an increment by 2, meaning that started out at 1 and then increment the number by 2 every time instead of just 1. And it's going to return as, in this case, it's going to give you like an odd numbers type of thing list. See, it start off with 1, right? And it go increase to 2, it's 3, 5, 7, 9. And then it stop there because that is the last number you can go before you hit 10. So if we go one more, it's going to be 11, and we don't want that. So this is range, right? So what is length? And length usually is used for text, as in strings, or also used with list. What it does is you put in a text, let's say I love CIS 101. What it does is going to return you the amount of characters inside the strings. If you put it this way, if you think about it, string is basically a list of characters. So it's going to give you the number of the elements, or like the number of characters inside the string. So if you count it, I don't know how many it is, but you enter it, it's going to give you, oh, let's say there's 14 characters. All right. If you put it in a list, for example, we know that range is returning a list, right? So if you put a range function inside a length function, it just basically say get the length of the list that this range return. So it'd be something like this, right? So if this range return this list right here, which is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, then the length function gonna count how many elements in this list, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you enter it, it's gonna give you 5. I hope it makes sense, making sense so far, as in general basic stuff about range and length. Now, most common use in Python, especially for these two functions, is when you loop. In Python, there's different types of loop, but let's say what we want to focus on today is looping by index. What exactly is a loop, right? And I found this website just randomly, but it's a pretty good condition about like explanation what a for loop is. A for loop is basically a program language conditional iterative statement which is used to check a certain condition and then repeatedly execute a block of code as long as the condition is met. And it also have like loop variable, that was they call, and which allows the body on the loop exactly sequentially to each iteration. I can't read, sorry. So let's look at our example over here, right? So for loop is usually a loop through a certain condition, and in this case, when we say looping by index, it's usually it looping through a range of numbers. Because when we talk to index, we talk about each position, and so we're looping through like a list of number, right? So something to note over here real quick is that, see, our goal is that we want to loop through this string input in this function. However, we don't want to just loop through it by value, character by character, but we want to learn to practice using index, which means that we use is index position instead. So this function is the string, and the string is the input. And when you get the length of that string, it's going to give you the how many characters are there, right? So the amount of characters in that strings, and then when you call a range function on that, for example, if I say length, I love CS is 101, I love CS 101 is 14, and when I call a range function on that string, it's gonna give me return me a list of range 14, which is 0 to 13. So this is perfect because if you look at this this string right here and this list is kind of related. Why is it related? Because when you put the maximum length of the string into a range function, it returns a list of number that basically is all the index position of the string itself. So because the length is 14, which means we know that the last index of the string is 13, and it starts out with 0, right? So if I say so for this string example, so which means that it's so if I call a for loop on this range, it's gonna go through 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. Let me example real quick. Let me call this function. Okay, so this is the example. Enter it. Okay, so what it does here is our input string is each day, yeah, and the index just basically mean what you want to call it. So like you say you're looping through this list of length, you're looping through the range of length of the string, which is each day. So what you want to call each of them, because at every loop it's kind of do exactly the same thing repeatedly again and again for each I guess for each case of this. So what do you want to call it? So in this case we call it an index. It's just a variable name, guys. It's just a for loop variable name. You can call it whatever you want. Really, later on in class, to like higher level class, it could even just be I and something like that. But it's the index here. It's just referring to what each of these is. Um, so it's gonna start out with 0, right? And then it's gonna execute this block of code, and then next it's gonna go to 1. It's gonna execute this block of code again, and again, and again, until this index value is 9, and it execute this one for the last time, and then this for loop is done. And then it's gonna print out whatever the new string is gonna be. Inside the while loop, inside the for loop, is this new string get modified over time. So why don't we just take a look at this real quick? So let's look at our code right here. So you see that in our function, we taken an input called string, yeah, and whatever the input is just a name, and we just refer to calling it by string. And the first thing in our function does is set a new string variable to this thing, kind of like a bar or something like that. And next is going to the for loop that we talk about. This is range length string is basically just return the list of the index of that string. It's that start from 0 to the last index of that string itself, whatever the input was, and we're gonna loop through each of them, and in each case we call that an index. That's our variable name. Okay, so and then we're gonna modify our string because we're setting our new string variable that we set earlier before the loop to something new. So, um, yeah, so let's look at this real quick. So let's say if my string is input is beach day, yeah, and the length of the string here is 10. When I call the range function on that length of this input, it's gonna give me the list, the index list of the string itself, which is gonna be 0 to 9, because the maximum length is 10. And first of all, before anything else, the new string was this random bar itself. We don't have index yet because we haven't started into looping yet. But it's our after iteration, because this is before the loop. So before and after, it's just the exact same thing. But so I'm talking about this line of code right here, and I can just tell you what these is real quick. But as long as, let's say, when we go into the for loop, when index go to number 0, yeah, when index go to 0 in this list, before it goes to index 0, it's just the same thing. But afterward, after 0, it's gonna in this block of code, it then modify the string the new string. So we see that our index is 0, which means we're going to put 0 into this formula right here. It becomes string 0 plus new string plus string 0 again. Okay, so I messed up this part. Okay, if you notice, I just chain fixed this. This is not the actual. Yeah. So okay, sweet. So in every loop, I guess in every iteration, this is the block of code that is gonna be executing. So when the index is 0, as index is 0, it's gonna execute this block of code. And in this block of code that we're executing is also referring to the value of the index itself. So when in the first case, when index is 0, it's gonna refer to 0. So it's modifying new string is set to string at index 0 plus whatever new string was, and then is plus 2 string at index 0 again. So what is string at index 0? Our string is beach day, yeah? So the index 0 is the first letter, which is B. So which means there's going to be a B, and then it will plus whatever new string was. So new string was this thing, so it's going to plus this thing, and then it's plus 2 string 0. String 0 is B, and then 2 more B then. That's what it does right here. And then it's kind of just follow the process, right? And keep going down here. Yeah, if you look at so after index go to I guess after the 0 index iteration and this block of code is executed, then now index is gonna go to 1, right? And now our string is got modified to this thing, right? By the end of the 0 index for loop. That and then at this index, it's pretty much kind of just execute the same block of code, but it's also referred to the value of index in this case, which is 1, and we see that strings 1 is E plus whatever new string was. In this case, it was this thing when the 0 index finished, and it's add to string 1 again. So string 1 is E, it add whatever this thing before is, which is this whole thing right here, and then it add 2E at the end. So it's kind of repeat the same pattern until we reach 9, which is this exclamation, and it add 2 at the end again as well. So that's what it does if you break down the code, right? And there's something that's very useful in this JS is it has a watcher. So let's see, if I put on a watcher, it's actually going to show you as well. So let's see if you want to. So in this watcher, it's kind of show you step that this function does and what it does and which line is being executed and stuff like that. And if you want to watch a certain variable, especially like this new string, we want to see how the new string is changed over time. You can add in a variable to watch in the new string, right? And might as well want to watch index, right? I want to see at what index and what value was the new string was. And let's see. I think this is good speed. And then when I run the program, bam. Oh, just kidding. Okay, there you go. So at line 4, which is over here, line 5, it's just setting the new string to that value. And then at line 6, it start looping, right? So at index 0, when it first oops, let's see. Okay, there you go. Okay, this is much better. So this is gonna go, it's starting into the loop, and this kind of just is reading the loop condition, right? Like what the loop does, really. And it started with index 0. So before, the new string was just this character right here. And then when it goes to index 0, when it first go in, it's just that. But when it come out, when it's after it's executed this block of code, it became this thing, and afterward it's increased the index to 1, and after it execute the block of code again, it become this thing, and then it increased the index to 2, and so on until the last step. So you could look at this inside JS. That would probably be better than just break it down like I did here. But this is like manually, like manually looking at it. A good way to practice is probably like, um, yeah, yeah, just do this thing. Probably be the best for you. But that's pretty much the video today. I know it's kind of long and it may not be super clear, but I hope it helps. If any other question that you might have, feel free to comment and ask again, and I'll probably try to verify that. Thank you.